Okay, well, I'm with Charlie Eaton from Horizon now. Afternoon, Charlie. Yeah. I think we just missed the rainfall, so that was useful.
Yeah, good afternoon, Philip. Sorry, we're slightly late because I was hiding in the tent.
I don't blame you. Yeah. So, I'd like you really to talk me through the key features and bits and pieces on your drill here, and possibly, for a start, just give us a little bit of background as to the company, where it's come from, and build that into what you're talking about here, please.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. So, I'm Charlie Eaton, Head of Sales and Marketing for Horizon. So, who are Horizon? We are a British manufacturer, so all of our products you'll see here, cereals, are manufactured in Lincolnshire. We're a very new company, so we're only, now 4.5 years old under the Horizon brand. So there's quite a long background of engineering and farming there that has led to the company. So we're owned by George Sly. Some of you guys might know George. So George is actually giving a talk in Sweden to a group of no-tillers today, so he can't be with us. But George has about 15 years background of agricultural engineering from his old business, Sly. So that was a partnership with a French farmer. They initially looked at strip till and did a lot with the Sly strip cat. That product was very, very successful all around Europe, and that led them into less soil disturbance, conservation ag, and down the route of the Sly Boss drill. So the Sly Boss drill was Sly's no-till disc drill. 4 years ago, George left that company. It was sold to Agri and launched Horizon. He brought with him the technical director from Sly, Johannes Weber, who was a German engineer, and they very much set about redesigning the strip till and the no-till disc drill. So that's how Horizon was formed. Like I say, there's nearly 50 employees now in the business, all manufactured near Holbeach. We have a 300-hectare trial farm, which is George's family farm, so all the machines are developed and tested there. We're now selling products we've got products in 26 countries worldwide, doing mainly UK, Western and Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
So that's who we are and how we're doing this.
Good. And the evolution of your openers here, just talk us through basically where these started and how these have come to this position.
Yeah, okay, so here we've got our mounted DSX drill. This is a very new product for us. We only launched this at Agritechnica in November, but previously, when we still do, our trailed DSX. So our trailed DSX is our biggest seller still, and this is an evolution of that into a lightweight mounted 3-point linkage machine.
Still using the same openers?
Exactly the same openers, so we effectively have exactly the same technology in this 3-point linkage machine as we do in our big trailed machine.
Okay. Yeah. And the key function of the single undercut disc then, just run us through that.
Yeah, well, if I talk you through the row unit front to back. So to start with, so row spacings, on our trail drills, we offer 4 different row spacings. So the farmer can choose 16.7, 18.7, 20 or 25 centimetres. So we offer that. That's not possible on a single toolbar machine. So we only have 2 row spacings on this, 25 or 23. So this is a 23 centimetre machine. So we're wider in the single toolbar. Pros and cons, if you want to go into that, we can. But that's the first thing, so it's a wider toolbar. The frame is modular, so we can make all of our machines wider. So if a farmer chooses a 4-metre machine and wants to build that up in the future, that they can do that. So looking at the row unit, so to start with, we run or have the option for a row cleaner. So we know with a no-till disc drill that hairpinning can be a challenge. Typically, that will be into chopped straw straight behind the combine.
Yep.
So typically at that time of year, shallow seeding into a thick mat of straw, just trying to get a cut and a very fine placement of the seed. That's where hairpinning is most of a problem. So we run these row cleaners. They don't completely eliminate it, but they will dramatically reduce it. So we would expect 80-90% of the straw to be removed from the seeding zone.
So they're shifting basically the biggest volume away from where the disc is going to punch through, and
Yeah, exactly that. And that obviously stops the seed getting encapsulated in rotting straw, but it also stops the rotting straw flicking the seed out, which is a big problem on the closing wheel when that passes. So the row cleaners, they're an option if you're baling your straw. If you're not doing shallow seeding in August, September, they're not needed, but you can always add them. If you're chopping your straw, you're sowing something like oilseed rape into chopped straw, we'd highly recommend them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And do you find at all that they're very much surface acting row cleaners normally, but you might get a tiny bit of crumb created by the action?
Yeah, you can do, depending on, so we can adjust the pressure on them pneumatically in the tractor. So if you imagine we've got our 9-metre drill over on our stand, adjusting 48 row units by a pin or a spring would start getting very boring. So you can set these more or less aggressive in seconds in the tractor cabin, which means we can really dial it in and get that nice brush without moving the soil.
And that pressure would be then constant, irrespective of where this is floating?
Yeah, 100%. So that's in on there on its own parallelogram constantly.
That's massively important. You can't work without
Yeah.
floating row cleaners, but yeah.
A couple of things. So we've recently revised this row cleaner, so this is a new design for us. We bought it, we used to push our row cleaner, now we're pulling it. There's a couple of benefits for that. Firstly, it will follow the contour of the soil better. Secondly, we brought it closer to the point of seeding. So if you imagine this was up, if we didn't have any pressure in there, we're really close to the seeding disc, whereas before we had a bit of a gap and straw could fall back in and get around the seed. So we were prototyping these all last year. All of our drills moving forward will be on this one. We're actually looking at different row cleaner discs, so we can offer farmers different options for different residues. So, for example, a maize grower in Bulgaria who's going into a lot of corn residue needs a different type of throw and movement than perhaps a winter wheat grower in the UK.
Yeah. That makes complete sense. A trailing arm floating row cleaner is probably the optimum, really.
Yeah. And because we do a lot with planters, we also look a lot at the planter market with this. So then if we move on to the row unit, we run a parallelogram. So each one of these parallelograms has 36 centimetres of travel in them. So they're all independently going up and down, working the contours of the ground. But most importantly with the parallelogram, it means the front of the row unit and the rear of the row unit are always perfectly engaged with the soil. We can adjust the pressure of that centrally on the front of the machine. So on our trail meat machines, depending on weight and spec and what we've got on them, we can go up to about 250 kilos of downforce. This machine will go up to about 150.
Governed by the chassis and
governed by the chassis. Yep. We have a hydraulic weight transfer system, which we've got on display on the stand, which can give us an additional 800 kilos. So pretty much all these mounted machines we're selling will go out with that. That should be enough for most UK growers. It's very, very rare they'd need more than that. However, we can then add wing weights if needed, but you'll see we don't have any on here because we just never use them.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the parallelogram. We've got that perfect contour following and also perfect ground engagement. We then come down to, well, we'll have a look at these Decup diffusers. So not many manufacturers in the UK would be offering these. They are a pressure release boot that's 100% pressure release. So from this Decup diffuser, we are purely using gravity to feed the seed down into the soil. So if we had the fan on now and we put our hand over it, you'd be able to feel all the air coming out. So that's fantastic because it means, firstly, if we got a lot of product to deliver a long way, we can run the fan very high and it doesn't affect seed placement, but most importantly, it stops seed bounce.
Yeah.
And with that shallow seeding especially, seed bounce can be an issue, so that's why we have those on there.
Yeah.
Coming into the disc, so we're a single disc undercut drill. So we've got two angles in play here. We've got off to vertical, we're off to vertical with 10 degrees, and then front to back with 7 degrees. So there's two major benefits of the undercut disc. So firstly, penetration. So against a vertical disc, we will run with a lot less downforce requirement.
Like for like soils.
Yeah, like for like soil.
Yep, depth.
I don't really want to put a number on it, but
Yep.
probably 60 to 70% downforce in comparison to a vertical disc drill. Now that means we can, the big benefit of that isn't just that we can then go in really hard conditions, but it means we're always running with a lighter footprint, which is less diesel being consumed by the tractor, less wear going into the disc, less wear going into the gauge wheel and the bearings. Most importantly, less weight going into the seeding zone. So the lighter we can run with this row unit, the better.
Basically, you're affecting a lifting action to the soil, a little bit of sideways to create the shadow for the opener, but generally it's more of a balanced soil action rather than completely down, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. It's pulling itself in the ground naturally, almost like a cultivation disc would, and then we are lifting that little bit of soil on top of the seed and placing the seed underneath it.
Okay.
So yeah, penetration is the first benefit of the undercut disc. The second benefit is closing. And the heavier the soil, the more apparent that is, and that's where an undercut disc drill will always close the slot, and that's probably one of the biggest benefits and the biggest feedback we get on demonstration is, wow, we didn't think it would close the slot. Yeah. So we probably all know the challenges of no-till disc drills. If they're not closing the slot, the slugs will get in the autumn, they'll crack up, we'll lose humidity in the spring. So this will do a lot better job of that. So the job we ask our closing system to do is actually quite a simple, straightforward one, because we're not trying to move solid soil. So we've got the undercut disc. Depth regulation is right here at point of seeding. So if you couple that and the parallelogram, we're pretty much precision planter maize drill level of accuracy. So this will be planting within 2-3 mil level of accuracy. And then our closing system is completely independent. So whatever we're doing on the closing system shouldn't affect the row unit. So you'll see here we have these airbags. There's no pressure in them currently, so we can lift them right up. If you were in some really wet conditions, we can actually pin them up out the way. If you're trying to finish off beam drilling or whatever that might be, we can get them out of there. But again, in the tractor cabin, we can adjust the pressure on those closing wheels whilst going along. So if you hit a wet patch or wet corner on the headland, just knock it off. If you hit a real hard patch from the baler or whatever that might be, we can crank them right up.
Yeah, okay.
We offer different closing wheel options. So this is our steel tooth closing wheel. That would definitely be our most popular wheel for no-till. That's fantastic because it'll fracture the soil and actually make a little bit of crumb and close as it goes over. So we won't get that capping effect. It will make a nice little crumb on the soil. We do a wider rubber wheel. So if we're on very light sandy soil or cultivated soil, if you're doing a lot on cultivated, we would recommend that.
More of a gentle pressure at that point rather than sealing, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the row unit, pretty much explained. So this one is running on our front hopper, so that's our FT2200. We sell a lot of those front hoppers because we also sell it with our planter and our strip till. So that's a dual product pressurized hopper. So we can put 2 different products through that, be it 2 different seeds or seed and fert. We can plumb that into every other row or left and right. So if a farmer wanted to do a companion crop, so a cash crop, companion crop.
Every other,
or if the farmer wanted to do a cover crop mix with big seeds, small seeds, set at different depths, calibrated out correctly, we can do that here. We've got various other options on this that we can't see right now, so we can offer liquid fertilizer. So liquid is becoming very popular for our customers. We're selling a lot of liquid kits who are firstly wanting to be able to put nutrition infiltrating into the soil right at point of seeding, perhaps looking at compost teas. So we are seeing liquid become very popular. We do a microgranular fert kit that we can also put on here, so there's quite a few options.
So you can work with the soil on farm as it evolves. The farmer can evolve the machine to make best benefit of biology and everything else. You can start to feed the biology to release some nutrients going forward once it's working properly,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is our mounted machine. Why would someone want our mounted over trails? Well, there's definitely benefit, pros and cons of both. We are seeing this become very popular as we're doing more in Western Europe. So from going to Agritechnica in November, we really have opened up markets in Italy, Spain, Austria, Switzerland, Germany, France, Scandinavia. And those farmers perhaps might not want the investment of a big trail drill, and they would be looking at this type of product. Same in the UK, for perhaps farmers who are only going to do some of their land direct drilling in that transition period. Perfect, they can move to a toolbar and perhaps interact that with other tine drills.
Could strip till, or they could put a tine drill on the back and go and complement the disc action really.
So we can mount, or we can couple up our front hopper with any toolbar on the back here, and it doesn't have to be a Horizon one. We also see a lot of farmers in the UK talking to us about this for delayed drilling. So the principle of having as light a footprint as they possibly can, stealth drilling perhaps on some green and into some cover, and going in and doing a very, very light footprint to get those winter crops in. So we don't need a huge amount of horsepower on this, so this 230 Valtra is more than enough. Typically on a mounted 6 like this, 170, 180 is plenty. Because we've not got that weight of a trail machine up the hill. We all know the virtues of a mounted machine on a 3-point linkage, more agile in the corners, on the headlands turning. So yeah, a lot of benefits of the machine.
Okay, that's good. And so from a farmer's perspective then, it's really a versatile element. You could then add different combinations of tine seeder or a strip till on the back as well, and evolve into a system where your soil can then accept less tillage or zero tillage ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. And to make the investment for perhaps one of our big machines, most of the people who would be doing that are in zero till. So they're not in the transition period, whereas this machine might offer them more flexibility during that period.
Yeah, and then you've got then the opportunity to change this or supplement it down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you've got another machine that you wanted to establish covers with, probably, or even a straw rake or something, you could always then use the distribution system to work with that as well.
Yeah, we could use that distribution system, like you say, on a straw rake, on a low disturbance subsoiler, on a tine drill, not a problem. We don't currently have those products in our product range yet, but we are moving pretty quick in 4 years, so watch this space. But as it currently stands, we're not offering that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And from your customer's point of view, clearly there's a journey you go down with the soil, with the biology, the biota and all that's going on in there. There's a journey you go down when you go down reduced till. Do you see any common themes sort of developing, dealing with people that are going down that road? Do their soils evolve and their requirements change slightly, or provided they've got the right bit of kit for a start, they can evolve with that one?
Yeah, I think so. I've been selling direct drills since 2011, so I've seen a lot of those farmers go through that transition period. What I would say on that note is, where perhaps farmers might get stuck is when they're doing it for the wrong reasons and will make rash decisions off the back of it. So this winter that we've just had, for example, has been an extreme weather window to go through that autumn, winter, and then the spring just did not. We can't make decisions on the future of our farms over that one winter. We know what we're trying to achieve. We know we're trying to build resilience in our soils, but one bad winter in part of that transition is not a reason to give up on it.
And because the biology builds and it then has got the ability to recover quicker once you get the resilience into the soil, you can afford once in a while to do some form of strategic operation, or just to get a crop in sometime.
Yeah, 100%. And certainly in the UK, with the rainfall and the erratic weather windows we can have, flexibility is absolutely key. There are very, very few UK no-tillers purely running one, I've got a disc drill and that's it. And yes, we know the benefits of a cover crop, but there's a reality on, some of our West Country growers on 1,100, 1,200, 13 mil of rain a year. We need to get real with that. We are seeing, without any question, direct drilling is moving into the mass UK farmer. They might be taking silage off and have bale trailers. There's a lot happening on these farms, so they need to find a way to make that work for them.
Could be putting muck back.
Yep, could be putting, taking the bales off, putting the muck back. But interestingly, here today we're talking about wet weather conditions and building up resilience for that. Because we are now selling machines all over Europe, my next telephone call could be of a Romanian who've gone through several years of a lot of drought, and they're wanting to talk to us about no-till for the opposite reason.
Yeah. I think the overall message here for all of us, I learn every day, but is if the weather gets more extreme, then we've got to develop our soils to become more resilient, to take, if you like, advantage of that or be able to cope with that, whether that's wet or dry extreme. It seems to be coming in one way or the other, not the middle line anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And the steel is not the answer with that. One thing that was quite interesting actually in the UK this spring with this challenging late spring and the rain just not giving up, is certainly with these no-till disc drills, we are only keying into the top inch, half an inch to get the seed in the ground. So, and it was one thing that we kept stressing to our customers, be patient, wait for that soil to warm up. And because they're not moving very much soil, they don't need it dry at 3 inches or at 5 inches. We just need that topsoil to dry out and you can get on.
It doesn't need it long. It doesn't take long for that bit to dry out. Then you need the output and to do it at the right time in the right conditions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you very much for giving us an insight into where you're moving, where you've moved from, where you're moving to. Clearly, I think for me, flexibility is certainly part of the game here.
Yeah, that's what we're looking to offer our customers, as much flexibility as we can, because they're only looking, as more and more direct drillers, they're only looking to go into more different situations.
Yeah, good. Very many thanks, Charlie. Hope you have a good rest of the show.
Brilliant. Thank you, Philip.
Welcome.